Every one of you is an extension of source energy, without exception. And you are being called to the whole of who you are, to the most expanded version of you. That non-physical you, who remains in non-physical while you are here, is expanding as a result of you being here. Every time you explore this new environment and you ask for something that you have not asked for before, there is an expansion that takes place. The question is, are you keeping up with the expansion that you are providing? Because your inner being is, and when you feel positive emotion, you're keeping up with the expansion. When you feel negative emotion, you're not. Abraham, next question. Sometimes I feel like Source already knows what I want. Of course. Because as you've lived life and known what you don't want and known what you do want, you're sending those rockets of desire. And Source is aware of everything that you're asking for, unequivocally, without exception. You go on. So instead of trying to pick what I want before I know what I want, I may think I want A, but I really want B, and I just don't know it yet. It isn't like that. You're living some life and you prefer this, and you're living some life and you prefer this. Your A's and your B's aren't in competition with each other. You can have it all. Someone said, but Abraham, my new wife and I have a difference of opinion about where we want to live. She wants to live at the beach and I want to live in the mountains. How can that jive? How can we both get what we want? And we say, because beneath her desire to be at the beach and your desire to be at the mountains is something else. What is it? To feel good? To see beauty? To be happy in your life? To experience nature? Isn't there some harmony between you there? If you realize that there is always a why that you want something, and that why is always compatible with what your inner being knows, and you will focus in the direction of what you want and why you want it. When you talk about how you're going to get it and when it's going to come and where it's going to be and when it's going to come and who's going to be there and who's going to bring it, when you ask all those questions to which you don't have known answers, you introduce resistance into your equation and you slow it all down. But if you think about what you want and why you want it, your vibration clears up, the resistance subsides, and you begin moving in the direction of the never-ending unfolding of the wonderful things of your life experience. You're not here to be tested. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to live joyfully. You're here to create a joyful life experience. And your inner being is helping you every step of the way. So let's go back to this. Source already knows. Sometimes I feel like Source already knows what I want. Yes. This question gets a little more specific here. Isn't it a better idea to just focus on my vibration instead of doing such things like vision boards? This is a question that comes up often. How specific should I be about what I want? And our answer is, be as specific as you can be while still feeling good. So if you say you want something and then you realize that you don't know how it's going to come or where or when or who, but you're trying to be specific, you're going to get knotted up in that. You're going to feel frustration and uneasiness and maybe even unworthiness, maybe even not capable of doing it. Because in your confusion, in your vibrational confusion, you're not letting evidence in that lets you know that you're on the right track. But if you could be more general, if you could speak, as we were saying, beneath what is beneath that, if you could be more general, I want this because I believe I would feel good in having it. And I like feeling good. And I like evolving, and I like expansion, and I like new experiences. As you're more general, then you're right. You introduce less resistance into the equation. However, sometimes when you don't have resistance, it's a really good idea to be more specific because it's just way more fun. In other words, some subjects you have little resistance about, so you can think in specifics about those and enjoy watching the universe knock itself out to deliver to you specifics that are pleasing. Sometimes you have more resistance, so stay more general on those topics. It's like you have your hands on the steering wheel. You get to direct where you go, and you get to direct how fast or how slow you go. It's all in your control. The key is to care how you feel enough to choose among the thoughts that you think or the ideas that you ponder, and choose those that feel good, and then be as specific as you can be and still feel good. You vacillate between being overwhelmed, and then you want things to slow way down, and then you get bored and you want things to speed up. Sometimes Esther will say, she says this quite often, when I open the floodgates of desire, I know things are going to begin to move fast. And so I must prepare myself to not get carried away with two more things than I can comfortably or joyfully deal with or experience in a day. The universe is responsive to you. And so wouldn't you say even that when things feel like they're moving too fast, that thought or feeling will slow them down? And don't you like that? Things aren't going to run away with you. But you also don't want to be so pessimistic and so unworthy that you don't let anything good happen for yourself either. Abraham, since my inner being never looks back, we tell you that the biggest difference between humans and your inner being is that your inner being is not looking back. Your inner being is looking forward, because your inner being knows that as you've lived life, you've launched these rockets of desire, and that there's a vibrational reality that is in the process of becoming, just like the seed that is in the ground, even before you can see it, is germinating and is becoming, and that eventually it will show itself to you. You will be in a place where you will see it. Everything is like that. So your inner being can look back. Looking back isn't something that we're saying never, never do. We're saying be a selective sifter. And whether you're looking at the past or the present or the future, look for what you're wanting to see. But the tendency in humans in looking back is a sort of lamenting youth that is lost, or lamenting or being sorry that you didn't do a better job of taking advantage of life when you were younger. In other words, most humans who look back do a disservice to themselves because they find vibrations that are not in sync with what inner being is doing. So why do we tell you that your inner being doesn't look back? Because your inner being is always looking at you in your powerful now. Now is where all of your power is. Now is where the non-physical you meets the physical you. It's where all of your vibrations converge. It's where you are a cooperative component to who you really are, meaning your inner being and all that your inner being is evolved to, or whether you're not. And so your inner being is fascinated, so eager about you, where you are in relationship to what you've asked for. That's why there is that calling. That's what that inspiration is. Motivation is knowing what you don't want and trying to prod yourself in the direction of wanted. But inspiration is being in sync with that source energy part of you who is calling you forward. And so your inner being is not looking back. Your inner being is looking forward, standing right here with you, right where you are vibrationally in your present and powerful now, and looking forward to all of the things that you've asked for, and shining that emphasis